Okay. So I am finally here. I have finally come up with the courage, the strength, the strength of will. And I'm tired now of these things just looking like this when I'm in the house. I'm tired. I want to wake up looking like a queen. So I have finally brought myself to Nyambura of Marira Beauty.
She is finally here.
But
she does her brows so well.
You know, that's the thing. But it's also so tiring. It actually gets so tiring doing your eyebrows all the time. So I really want this sort of semi-permanent version. So anyway, you guys, we are here at Marira Beauty. It's such a beautiful, I'm sure you've already seen it. You've already said it. You've seen the setup and you've seen how it is here.
Thank you.
Very, very pretty. So thank you and welcome to my channel.
Karibu.
Wow. So as a first timer, I've read a lot about this thing, but of course the professional is here, so you can let us know sort of what it is that the process is, how long it takes, how long it lasts,
right,
and stuff like that. Just a little bit of a picture so that now we can figure it out from there.
Okay. So there's microblading and microshading.
Right.
Microblading is a process of inserting pigment into the upper layers of the skin, so that you create fullness of the brow. There's people who don't have hair, they have scanty hair, or people who hair grows until, you know, halfway.
Right.
There's no hair.
In fact, my whole family is like that. The tail of we have no tails. It's so annoying.
Yeah, so that's a challenge for most people, waking up every morning and having to do your brows.
Yeah.
And especially coming up with the, what do you call it, symmetry.
Right.
Of the brows.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge to most people. So this is a great thing that you can go for if you want to reduce your makeup time in the morning. So microblading creates, it's a process where you draw lines on the skin that mimic hair strokes.
Okay.
So you look like you have hair.
Okay.
To create some fullness. And then you have microshading, where instead of the hair strokes, it's a powdery effect. You use a machine. There's manual shading and there's also machine shading.
Okay.
Where you use a needle and it kind of creates dots on the skin that have ink, creating a powdery effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sort of creates a made-up eyebrow effect.
Yes.
Okay. So what would you recommend now? Seeing my brows.
Yeah.
And how the woman one day, let me tell you my story of my brows. So one day when I was, in fact, it was just before a shoot, and I was like, oh, my brows are a little too full.
Right.
Let me go and get them plucked. And I had this lady in Odeon who used to do them all the time, but she wasn't there that day.
Right.
And the shoot was the next day. So I'm like, let me just, as in, it's the process is the process. Let me just go. I'll make sure I watch. So I entered just a random store, but it was really nice. It was set up well. I believed them because there was even a bed. Like they were, hey, I was like, okay, all right then. So I go into the store, and of course, when I'm doing eyebrow one, I was really paying attention. So I'm watching her the whole way, everything she does. But once she had done one, I told her, the second one, you're basically just doing like what you've done.
Yeah.
So see, I left her. I was not paying attention.
Nyambura.
One line of hair, like one hair left on the eyebrow. I wasn't paying attention to.
What?
So now what do you have to do? You have to remove the other one, because what are you going to do?
Did she pluck everything?
She plucked almost
like
everything. Almost everything
one?
off my right eyebrow.
Actually,
they have never grown back the same.
That's the challenge with most people, which I also had.
Yeah.
Although luckily my hair grew back over plucking.
Jehovah, just give me my hair back.
Over plucking, most people have gone through plucking,
yeah,
you know, throughout so many years, such that at some point
it stops growing back. So I don't know what that lady did. My eyebrow has never been the same. So now this is my one.
Some hair.
But this is after years of like hoping, like hoping and praying. And then when I tweeze, let me tell you, when I tweeze my eyebrows, I only tweeze like the ones completely off of the center, like the ones that are
so careful.
Yeah, I'm like one at a time.
Yeah.
I'm so afraid. Anyway, so yeah, so what would you recommend for like me now if I wanted to? I woke up like this, like this brows.
I'd say you're quite in the middle.
Okay.
You don't have a big amount of hair.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have hair.
Right.
So I'd recommend a combo for you.
Okay.
A combo meaning doing microblading, a mixture of microblading and microshading.
Okay.
And since your hair is more on the front, we would do microblading at the front.
Right.
You know, strokes, and then where you don't have hair, and it up some shading.
It's shading.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. All right, so let's talk about colors, like the colors that you pick for the pigment, because I know they're different, like it must vary from client to client, skin color, etc. So how do you pick what color goes onto the skin?
Well, there's a whole range of pigments, color pigments that
Yeah.
you could use. This is my opinion. Don't kill me all. This is my opinion. For black people, I mean, we have a range of tones. There's
Right.
like super light people and super dark people and people who are like in the mid-range.
Yeah.
For most of my clients, they're in the mid-range.
Okay.
So generally, personally, this is me. I will use one particular color, or they range with two, and then there's what we call modifiers. Modifiers is something used to lighten up
Or to darken. Okay.
So I'll take a color that works generally on the mid-range of black-skinned people,
Okay.
and then add a modifier. If you're dwelling to the lighter side, I'll add a modifier.
Okay.
If you're going to the darker side, I'll add a modifier.
Okay.
For white people, Asians, that's a whole different pigment.
Yeah,
altogether. Yeah.
So do you have to like, do you tend to like, if a white person is blonde, do you then go into that type of
Yes.
color to match this?
What you do is match the color of the eyebrow hair.
Okay.
The color of the eyebrow hair,
Okay.
not the skin, the eyebrow hair.
Okay.
And that's why some people, somebody with black hair might come in and say, oh, I want brown eyebrows.
Right, because they're used to using like brown pencils and
Yes,
stuff.
we are
Okay.
all used to, most people, we are all
The
used
same brown pencil. I feel like every Kenyan girl uses the same brown pencil, and it's such good pencil.
Yes, it's a good pencil. But remember, when you use eyebrow pencil, you're shading your hair too. Therefore, the whole brown color will be even out.
Right.
But what we are doing is on the skin. So there's no way I can put a brown color on your skin and you have black hair.
Hair. Right.
It's quite a difference.
Right.
And between the shading of using brow pencil and inserting ink into your skin
Right.
for it to heal, those are two different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long does it usually last? I know there's all the differences. I've read like if you sweat a lot or if you have like really oily skin, it
Yeah.
may last for a shorter time. So what is the general like period that it lasts?
It goes from 2 years and above.
Okay.
But now there's a range depending on your skin type. So many
Right.
factors contribute to the healing process. Your immune system, your lifestyle. There's
Oh, wow.
people who gym a lot. There's people who
Right.
swim a lot. There's people who are really oily. So for people who, I'd say it doesn't last as long as people who have normal skin, people who are really oily, people who gym a lot or sweat a lot or engage in activities of sweating a lot,
Right.
people who use product skin lighteners,
Mm-hmm.
that will affect how much it stays.
Okay.
But for people who have combo skin, dry skin, that tends to last
To last
a little bit
longer.
Yeah.
Okay. And how? What is the healing process like? How soon can I like do stuff? Am I not allowed to touch them completely for like a few days? What
Right.
happens?
There's some stuff that you cannot do after the process. Basically, swimming,
Okay.
for at least a week to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Going to the gym, because the sweating affects how the ink heals.
Heals. Okay.
You want the ink to heal just as was put and dry, to keep this
Right,
area
right.
dry as possible for it to heal. And so when such things, and also doing facials,
Okay.
like there's somebody, if you go for a facial like 2 days after it's been done and you're opening up pores and stuff,
right.
that will affect your healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we're looking at a week, 2 weeks.
I would say
for
2 weeks.
2
max.
weeks. Okay, 2 weeks, people. So we're
2
looking
weeks
at
max.
about 2 weeks, and then we are healed and can now
Yes.
live and.
But there's
prosper.
other factors such as medication that could
Okay.
affect,
Okay.
like antibiotics for one.
Uh-huh.
You should stay off them a month before and after.
Wow,
Antibiotics, yeah. It will affect how the ink holds.
Okay. Wow, really? Okay.
I actually had a client who I send out emails to every client.
Yeah.
Of what, for some reason, the client didn't see
The antibiotics.
the email, and so she took antibiotics.
Right.
And ink didn't hold at all.
So it doesn't
Have
like
to have
okay.
her
So when you say it doesn't hold, what does that mean? Like when you're putting it on, there's nothing
I
going
will
on,
do the
or like
process, everything, but when you heal, there's no color.
it's gone. It's like it never
gone.
happened.
Yeah, it never happened.
Ah, keep that in mind.
So when a client comes in, already I've given them info who qualifies, who doesn't qualify,
Right.
what not to do a few days before.
Right.
So when a client comes in, there is a little bit of consultation that goes on first, just to confirm that they adhered to whatever instructions I'd given them.
Right.
I'll also explain the aftercare instructions before, so that a client can confirm whether they'll be able to keep them before we start. When we start, I'll look at the brows of the client and give my own view.
Yeah.
Clients will sometimes come in, this is the shape I want, or I love this picture of brows, could we have them like this? So the very first thing is the eyebrow shaping, designing of whatever shape the eyebrow wants, the client wants, and what I feel is right for them.
Okay.
Usually most clients will go with whatever shape I do, or some, depending on their personality, some want bavavoom, some want a little bit laid back, natural, will adjust. So I use a tool depending on your eye size and this brow bone right here.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll get a client who will come and they have this shape and it totally does not work for their face.
Like a shape in their mind, a shape
yes, yes. They may have small eyes and they want this huge, and it doesn't work, but we always work it out.
Okay.
So do that first, and then I'll show the client, they'll have a look. Once they're okay with it, then we move ahead. I never go ahead until a client approves of the shape. Once they approve of the shape, then depending on what you're doing, there's somebody who'll do microblading only, or combo, or the microshading. At that point, we numb.
Okay.
If the client, cannot stand any pain, we will numb. If it's microblading only, just numbing, and then we will do the strokes one by one by one by one. The numbing effect does not stay through the whole procedure until the end. So at some point after the numbing effect goes away, I numb again. And then we do what is called passes. Passes is after I do the strokes, a pass is going over the same strokes once or twice, inserting ink. So that is microblading. If you're doing a combo, after we're done with the microblading, I'll take a machine, if I'm doing machine shading, and just fill in ink using the machine in between the strokes. And then I'll do passes. Passes is the same thing, going over and over again just to get a nice color. Because if you do it just one pass, then it will toll or it will heal very light. After that, a client, will keep checking. The artist has to keep checking, whether with both brows. My advice, never work on one brow till you're done and then go to the other. You have to keep comparing both. And then after you're done, I'll go through the aftercare instructions again with the client. And I guess that's it. So for aftercare, for the first day, I'll give you an aftercare cream that you apply. That just helps with the healing through the process. For the first few days, let's say 3 days, apply the aftercare morning and evening, every morning and evening. You need to apply very little using a cotton swab. And then after that, after maybe 3 days, I advise for dry healing. Dry healing is don't apply anything at all. That mostly applies for oily people. My aftercare advice for oily people, do not apply anything. Of course, there's some things that vary depending on client, which I explain in my social media account, or I'll send out to a client after I study their skin, or they tell me this is what I do every day, and I'll give advice.
I know also on your website and your Instagram, on your social media across the board, you have some of those rules written down. So please also share what your Instagram pages are and your website as well, and then we can.
Marira Beauty, everything is
everywhere.
Marira
Beauty.
Marira on Facebook and Instagram and on Twitter.
It'll just be typed somewhere here, guys.
Yes.
And then there'll be a link to, in the description box below, so that you guys can really come and try to at least learn about it first as an option, and then see about, because I have been learning for a long time. I've been too afraid. Today is the day.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you. Let's get to it.
Yes!